Yellow River. Vincent Kirioba is the director of Blockchain Analytica Consultants. He's here with us in the studio. And joining us via video link is Gilbert Mogambi Osoro, who is a patron of the Fourth Industrial Revolution, Kenya. Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning.
Morning to you.
Gilbert, good morning and good to have you joining us on link. I can see you somewhere where you are okay, you're fine, you're safe.
Thank you. God has been good to me. Morning, Ndu and the Cliff.
Good morning.
Huyu anaitwa City.
CT.
Oh, City ni Charles.
Yeah, that is my first name. It's Charles. Yes.
You don't have known your full name, Charles.
Lakini usiambie mtu.
I won't tell anyone.
Sasa, you mentioned it on national radio and everybody has heard. Sasa sitting quiet.
Has heard what?
Vincent is right. Vincent, did you hear anything?
No, I didn't.
You see? The secret is safe.
Why are you announcing Gilbert's infirmity on national radio? People didn't know he had a hearing impediment. Now they know.
Gilbert Mogambi Osoro, you are the patron of the
Yes, sir.
Fourth Industrial Revolution, Kenya. What is that?
First, let me take this opportunity to thank SpiceFM and the Standard Group for giving us this opportunity to come and share with Kenyans what is the Fourth Industrial Revolution. As you are aware, currently, we are at the dawn of the Fifth Industrial Revolution, but allow me to take a walk down memory lane to jog Kenyans' memory. Industrial Revolution is the process of change from the agrarian economy to one that is dominated by industry and machine manufacturing. These technological changes introduced a novel way of working and living, fundamentally transforming society. This process traces its origin to Britain in the 18th century and spread to the other parts of the world. For the purposes of our viewers who are new to the term Industrial Revolution, the first Industrial Revolution, also referred to 1.0, started in 1765, and the key activities during that period were water, and the product was the steam engine. The second Industrial Revolution came on a decade later in 1870, and the key activities then were electricity, mass production, and assembly line. And the products were electricity, gas, and oil. The third revolution also, which is also referred to as Industry 3.0, came in 1960, when we had the key activities being electronics, that is IT, computer automation. And the products were telecommunication, electronics, and computer. Allow me to share on the fourth industrial revolution, which is nearly coming to an end. It is the current and developing environment which disruptive technologies. The key activities of the fourth industrial revolution is the Internet of Things, popularly referred to as IoT, robotics, virtual reality, artificial intelligence, that are changing the way we live and work. And the products include nanotechnology, autonomous vehicles, robots, and drones. Now, the fourth industrial revolution is disrupting the way things are currently done in the world. It is a fusion of advances in artificial intelligence, robotics, you might have heard of 3D printing, quantum computing, and other technologies. Thank you, Eric.
Asante sana for explaining all that to us. I mean, and what then? So, when you say you're the patron of the Fourth Industrial Revolution in Kenya, what does that mean? Are you like the one who's in charge of all these disruptive technologies in the country?
Artificial intelligence,
Yes.
drones, robotics. So,
No, we have an
nanotechnology.
advocacy. We have an advocacy group. And when I say advocacy, this is a group that brings together people that are interested in new and emerging technologies that I've mentioned. We realize that unless we change, this country will forever remain shortchanged. Unless we adapt technology, then the dream of being a middle income economy by the year 2030 will be a mirage. And I'm happy His Excellency the President, during his speech in the just concluded Jamhuri Day, of which the underlying theme was create, innovate, and inspire, has noted the importance of technology being a factor of production. Perhaps I'll invite Vincent to add something on what I've said.
So let's now welcome Vincent to the show. Vincent, karibu sana.
Thank you, SpiceFM.
And everything else that we've heard before, we'll continue from that point. You are the director of Blockchain Analytica Consultants.
Yes, sir.
Now, Blockchain Analytica Consultants just brings in the word K? Cambridge.
Not really, Eric. Good morning, listeners. First of all, I want to give praise to the Most High God because He's the source of all wisdom, and without Him, nothing can ever happen. I'm also privileged to be a Kenyan because it's among the few nations in the world whose national anthem is a prayer. O God of all creation, bless this, our land and nation. Now, to continue on what my brother Gilbert had already shared, the fourth industrial revolution continues. It's a paradigm shift. And like the proverb which our brother here, Siti Muga, put, he said that the good winds is of no use to a sailor who has no destination or direction. As long as you are aware that there's a paradigm shift, you need to align yourself to where is it headed to and where do I fit in? Are my skills relevant or am I going to be obsolete? There was a meeting which was held in Davos, Switzerland under the banner of World Economic Forum. And in that meeting, they released a job landscape from 2020 to 2030. And they identified the top 5 emerging careers and the top 5 declining careers. Are you interested to know the top 5 emerging careers? Data science, data analysts, artificial intelligence, robotic process automation, big data specialists. Now, in the same breath, let me also highlight the 5 declining careers. Postal clerks, factory workers, assembly line operators, accountants, and the list goes on.
Accountants are declining.
According to the report.
All right.
And if I will also just share something else. They say, the report released said that as a result of the fourth industrial revolution, or the paradigm shift, we'll have 133 million new jobs between now and 2030. But we'll have 75 million jobs shrinking, being lost. So the net effect is that we'll have close to 58 million jobs being added. One of the perennial problems in this country is that it's not that we're not educated. No, we have graduates everywhere. If you talk to any investor who wants to come and invest in the country, he said we have a remarkable human resource. But the skills do not match the job requirements. In other words, there's a skills mismatch. Which brings me to this point. Are we aligning ourselves to this fourth industrial revolution and the change? Like my brother Gilbert said, it's either we change or be forever shortchanged. And just to echo what he said about the 59th Jamhuri Day celebrations, if you were to read His Excellency's speech, from paragraph 43 all the way to paragraph 63, I'll share it with you if you want, it touches on innovation, it touches on content, it touches on the Industrial Revolution. Simply put, the government is willing to support this paradigm shift.
By word or by deed?
I will say by deed. And let me also qualify my statement. He introduced 3 top people as guests. There was the official from Visa, There was the official from Metaverse, and there was, I think, the vice president from YouTube. Those are global organizations. Those are the people who are spearheading the Industrial Revolution. That's the tech world. For them to have found time to be in Kenya, out of all those invites, that's a statement by itself. Kenya has taken off. Watch this space, +254.
So when you say that, this industrial revolution is ongoing, right? And all the things we're talking about, the disruptive technologies, those top 5 emerging careers are data. It's going on big data. It's going on technology. Do we have policies? Do we have government initiatives that are actually pushing us towards that, towards talking about having more people who understand data and analytics, having more people who are consuming big data, having capacity to actually have data servers in this country?
I'll take that, and then I'll let my brother also add on it, because there is a bill which he has drafted, and it will be submitted to the parliament. With regards to the statement whether the populace has aligned itself to this fourth industrial revolution, the answer is yes, because when you go to YouTube, when you go to various platforms, recently we had a Hacker Python or a Pythonista forum in USIU. A group of young people came and they hosted a data science forum. The other day, Strathmore had an occasion touching on data science. We are having data science being incorporated in various faculty of the tertiary institutions, that is universities and colleges. In line with that too, in the social media platforms, there are various IT or innovation groups. If you're not a member of one, we'll more than gladly invite you to join one. What's my point? The populace is aware there is a change, there is a wave. And they have embraced it. The only thing is they want to take it forward.
How do we see this? I'm really curious as to what is this wave? How are we seeing? Because usually where there's a wave of something, let's just take the minimal water. Somebody's bound to get wet. Somebody's bound to get into the water. What are now the manifestations of these waves that we can see, and in what sectors?
Okay. Gilbert, you want to take it? He's on mute.
Thank you, Ndu. As a testament that indeed the fourth industrial revolution is live, I want to take you to Google. This morning, when I checked the number of data analyst jobs in the US, there were 397,000 jobs that are available, of which 21,000 were new jobs that were posted today. I'll come back home. If you look at the Kenyan market, this morning, there were 605 data analysis jobs, of which 32 were posted this morning. Now, if you look at other jobs like artificial intelligence, which is the next big thing, you're looking at a blockchain technology. I know a number of Kenyans are familiar with the Bitcoin, but they don't know the underlying technology on which Bitcoin rides. In the next 2 years, the blockchain will have grown by 600,000 times worldwide. If you are a student of the world economy, you might have noted that in developed jurisdictions, they've adopted cryptocurrency, one of a means for saving. In fact, people are moving away from buying gold into investing in cryptocurrency. And my hope and prayer that in the near future, we'll have a cryptocurrency policy in this country, because we've had Kenyans who trade on the online platform. Some have lost money, some have invested well, but we need to have a regulated framework. In a nutshell, these new and emerging technologies are disrupting the way jobs are done in this country. And I want to take you back that there's a time advertised to recruit software engineers in excess of, I think, 400, and they could not be able to get even half of those software engineers in the country. I read an article that was done 2 weeks ago in one of the leading newspapers which indicated that there is a scramble for software engineers after multinationals, Google, IBM, and others said, indeed, you might not see it coming in for, but if you do your detailed investigation, you will note that the job landscape is changing drastically. Thank you.
You know, I'm often confused. Who are software engineers and who are hardware engineers? I mean, what's the difference? What do they actually do? I mean, what is a software? How do I need to look for? So when I look at somebody, I know this one is a software engineer and this one is a hardware engineer. What is it?
Okay, let me check that, Gilbert, if you allow me to.
Go ahead.
Proceed.
Okay, software is the interface between the user and the computer or the system. So anything that enables you to generate the desired outcome out of that system or out of that machine is called software. It may be a program, it may be an API, but basically all of them, the underlying or the driving force is the code, the coding.
So an app is a software?
Yes.
Why didn't you say so?
It's a case of semantics, Bonamuga, but I believe you're home. Thank you.
So a software engineer knows code.
Yes.
Okay. And a hardware engineer knows that.
Now, the hardware is the peripherals. What is composed, the ICs, the gadgets, and all that stuff. And so that I do not forget on this point, Sistandu mentioned the point of what is the water, how is this wave catching? Coding has been introduced and it should be part of curriculum in the Kenyan schools. As you are speaking right now, the children who are on holidays, most of them are attending coding camps. In addition to that, Codris Africa also partnered with the Safaricom, and they're offering some training using the Safaricom platform. What's my take? Our children are learning coding. Coding is the basic language for you to understand how software or how computers operate. And just like in the 18th century, labor was the leverage. In 19th century, it was a combination of labor and capital. But right now, in this current dispensation, the new leverage is coding.
Okay.
And let me also add this. You are not too old to learn coding. You are never too young to learn coding. In one of our webinars, which we hosted as the Fourth Industrial Revolution Group or Advocacy Group, there was a young man called R.N. Tejas from India. He's just 12 years old, but he has certifications from Stanford University, from University of Michigan, and so forth. How did you get to meet this young man? Through Twitter. And after exchanging a few tweets, we told him we needed him to inspire the program which we are rolling out for parents, which I'll touch on in a short while. He agreed, and that's when he shared his testimony. It wasn't easy for him, but he took advantage of the Fourth Industrial Revolution, and he reskilled, he retooled, he relearned, and right now he's ready. He's taking advantage of the sails, or of the wind. He's adjusted his sails.
He's adjusted the good to the good winds.
Yes.
All right.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
Conversation continues with Vincent Kirioba, Director, Blockchain Analytica Consultants. And joining us via video link is Gilbert Mogambi Osoro, the patron of the Fourth Industrial Revolution, City.
Yes. You know, whenever one talks about revolutions, what you're talking about is a complete upheaval. Something that changes the way you understood life to be, or the way you went about doing things, and introducing something completely new. But usually there's a thread that ties all these changes. You began somewhere, then you moved to this, and there was a catalyst. There's something that made it possible for one to move from one stage to the other. So if we're talking about the Fourth Industrial Revolution, clearly there'll be a fifth.
Sure.
What can we anticipate with the fifth?
Okay, I'll take that one.
Yes.
Well, when we talk about the fifth industrial revolution, it will be about the future in which humans and machines work synergistically. It will encompass the notion of harmonious human-machine collaborations with a specific focus on the well-being of the society. Let me just give an example. About in October, early October, we had a craniopagus surgery in which some 2-year-olds who had their skulls joined at birth separated. The operation took 28 hours and it was done in 16, participants were from 16 different locations. But how were they able to each participate in that surgery? Courtesy of virtual reality. So that's the point that I want to emphasize on. The fifth industrial revolution will involve human-machine collaboration. You may be here, and the doctor may be in Detroit, but he'll be able to undertake the process on you. It's happening right now, but they'll build up on that. They'll take it to the next level. Just to take you back, when Industrial Revolution started, it started with water, which powered the steam engine. Later on came the electricity. Later on came the electronics. Now we are talking about the Internet of Things. It keeps on, just going to the next level, up and up.
The twin discussion with all these developments is always the human factor. You talked about employment that will be available, and with the employment that aligns itself to these changes comes the acquisition of new knowledge. Because in the absence of the acquisition of new knowledge, you will actually not fit in.
Yes.
But then there's always the issue of, yes, we talk about the wonderful measures, the wonderful things that these innovations bring about. But there is always a but. What when they don't work? What when whatever they were intended for doesn't quite happen the way it was purposed? But even more importantly, what really does the role of what, not just the industrialists, but the commercial interests of the industrialists, what does it play in all this progress? And how, if we can quantify, does it actually really benefit mankind?
Well, I got an answer to that. Gilbert, you want to go first or you want me to go first?
You can go first, but go first, then I'll respond.
Okay. The purpose of humanity since time in evolution is to better his lifestyle. He can do that through adapting or through bettering. Now, when technology comes, technology has that at the back of that's the driving force when it comes to technology. How, if this process takes me 1 minute, how can I make it to take half a minute? How can I make it to take 10 seconds? An example is, let me use an example of internet. What did internet do? It drastically reduced the time through which mail was sent and received. At the click of a button, mail is sent, leaves one point, and is received at the other point. Further the developments on internet led to what now we have: live streaming, social media platforms, and so forth and so forth. All these are for the betterment of humanity. But there's the other aspect. Wherever there is good, evil will always creep in.
Or is it evil that exists and then good creeps in?
I choose to look at it the other way. Because in creation, if you read Genesis, after God was done with the first day of creation, he said, and it was good. And it was good. And it was good. But when the devil emerges or enters the scene, deception starts. So good always
precedes.
It's the driving force.
But do remember that the devil was also God's creation. If you look
And he
at
was
that
good.
same
And
book.
he was good,
And he
and
was
in
good
good
also.
company.
Yes.
Yes, I remember that. And I'll really appreciate if you were to invite me now to Chambue Biblia. But for the sake of this one, I get your point. And you mentioned about the investor or
Well, the
capitalist,
commercial aspects,
interest,
because this particular age in which we live has been referred to as a communication age.
Yes.
And it's clear why it is a communication age, the driving power. Now, where I'm getting to, what I'm driving at is, when you talk about change, there is the issue, again, I said, of knowledge transfer. Let's call it that, okay? Now, you clearly have an idea of how that can be done. What is your process? What are these programs? What do you have in store so that we can actually go about this process of knowledge transfer, so that people appreciate this age and this era that we're living in to the fullest?
Alvin Toffler, in his book,
What myth is that?
in his book, The Future Shock, said the illiterate of the 21st century will be those who cannot learn, unlearn, and relearn. In other words, we need to reskill, retool, and relearn. And that's what we've done as Blockchain Analytica. We sat down with my brother Gilbert and said, it's not enough to keep on saying unemployment, meeting graduates who are frustrated. What can we do, me and you? What can we do? Can we pull our resources and see what we can do? And he said, yes. How? We started the Fourth Industrial Revolution Group, Advocacy Group, and we reached out to the churches first, because that's where we found at least there's some level of organization amongst the youth. We had some webinars with them. They showed their willingness. We sponsored them. We offered them scholarships, which they gladly took. And to date, we've been able to offer 30 scholarships, and they have obtained certifications from international universities, and they are now working. Now, that's what I call reaching out and making the Fourth Industrial Revolution not only hit the ground, but be immediately beneficial to the early adapters.
Okay. Who will be the practitioners of this revolution in Kenya? Let's look at Kenya, for example. I mean, obviously, we're looking at a younger and younger age demographic. Those who are in school, you talked about those who are learning coding in school today, who then will be able to lend their hand towards processes. In the very near future, I mean, we have high school students who are earning from from coding today, right? So how else will we see this manifesting in the near future, or even?
I can take that one. Thank you. Now, for us to secure the gains of the Fourth Industrial Revolution, there must be a complete paradigm shift on the way it's education in this country. What is the education for the future for the Fourth Industrial Revolution? One, we need to redefine the purpose of education. Throughout time, the purpose of education has evolved based on the needs of society during that period. Education will need to support children to develop the skill set and the mindset to do anything in future rather than particular something. We need to align the education system to the requirements of the Fourth Industrial Revolution. We are talking of in education, and when I say science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, we need to introduce STEM education in the curriculum across board, regardless of the level, age, and gender. Vincent has just said about Alvin Toffler, who said that you need to reskill and retool. It is said that when new technology is rolled out, you are either the road or the steamroller. Unless we change, we will forever remain unchanged. The other thing I need to mention about is we need to develop human potential people that are agile or adaptable to change. And it is said, I think it's John Dewey once said that if we teach today's children based on our learnings in the past, we will rob them of their future. We need to adapt to this lifelong change so as to come up with education that promotes creativity, curiosity, design thinking, which are essential for the fourth industrial revolution. We need to make schools IT savvy. What am I saying? If you look at jurisdictions that have undergone momentous technological change, beginning from China, in China, kids in nursery are already doing artificial intelligence and robotic process automation. While the intention of CBC is good, we've started the baby steps of introducing coding. We need to take it to the next level. And I want to salute Mombasa County. Last year, they did launch a curriculum for artificial intelligence for early childhood, but I've not been able to go out and see what they are doing. But it is a step in the right direction. We need to be aware of what is happening in the rest of the world. We need to change higher education. I sometimes get worried when I pass by Kenya Cinema. There's a famous bench that is called the unemployment bench, whereby you come across young men carrying envelopes telling you that wanatafuta kazi. We keep wondering, what is this work they are looking at? Yet, there is work. The only point of variance is that the education they acquired is not aligned to the job landscape. We have a situation in the labor market referred to as skills mismatch. If you have time during your free time, you can read the Kenya Youth Policy Development Report that noted that youth aged between the age of 15 and 34 years form the highest percent of persons not in gainful employment, not in education or any training. And the current unemployment rate that stands at 10.4% notes that there is what we call labor underutilization, which stands at 17%. When we talk of labor underutilization, you find a graduate with even a master's student holder working as a guard. The education that he sought to acquire did not translate to gainful employment. We have so many instances of overqualified graduates who have decided for purposes of earning a living. And for your information, in the last report of the Kenya University Central Placement Report, over 5,600 students turned down admissions to public universities and instead opted to go for TVETs. I want to salute those students because they realize education is not only about acquiring papers. If you are to fulfill the objectives of education, then the papers must translate to gainful employment. Pass on to Vincent as I pause.
Just to add on to that, what is really emerging is that you cannot put new wine into old wineskins. The fourth industrial revolution has come with its own parameters and its own platform. That's why you can be here, but you can be working remotely. COVID was an eye-opener. Work from home brought the reality that really we can work from remote sites. I can be based here, but handling tasks in Australia or in any other 5 time zones. The point is this: are we preparing our youth to harness these new opportunities? Hosea 4 verse 6 says, "My people are destroyed for lack of knowledge." The purpose of education, as my brother said, Gilbert, is to replace an empty mind with an open one. Once that has been achieved, you will always take advantage of the good winds.
So if I was to ask you two gentlemen, because our topic today is whether Kenya is ready to exploit these opportunities of the fourth industrial revolution. So what is it that your advocacy group is doing? What do you do, the fourth industrial revolution advocacy group? What is your call to action? What do you want to see happening? And to be done by whom? When? Where?
Let me just go first, and I'll say this. I always do my best to learn from the best so that I can better myself. With regards to technology, I tend to focus so much on what's happening in India. Look at any top tech firms. The CEOs have Indian origin, be it Microsoft, be it Google, up to November, be it Twitter, Visa, MasterCard. But this did not just happen in an instant. These are fruits of a long-term laid strategy which was commenced by their forefathers. What is happening right now is the foundation has been laid. The fruits may be harvested initially, but those are not the real deal. The real deal will come with generations after generations. So,
Recording in progress.
to your question, what do we really do? There is need as an advocacy group to ensure that we have a policy framework in place. Is that true? Yes. That's why the theme for 59th Jamhuri Day was innovate. 2, there is need for this policy to permeate throughout all sectors of the economy, be it manufacturing, be it biotech, be it agriculture. 3, there is need for this paradigm to trickle down till mamamboga huko chini. Why? That way then there can be the awareness that this is the way it's happened. This is not something alien. This is not something that will be misconceived to create future havocs. 4, the government has already created the regulatory framework. It's upon now, myself and you, to ask ourselves, what can I do for my nation? Not what can my nation do for me. If I take my baby steps, or if I take my little and add to your little, kidogo kidogo, hujaza kibaba. Before
Vincent, revolutions, as we've described them so far, are sort of like demand-driven. It's not people sitting and thinking, I need to do something. It's because people thinking, I have a problem, and I'm looking for a solution. And in the pursuit of a solution, revolutions happen. Now, if this one is happening in the country, if all these things are happening, why is it that not more people are actually getting involved? It can't be because, I want to be patriotic, so I'll get myself into the wheel of industrial revolution.
Before I let Gilbert answer, I made a point here. Hosea 4:6, my people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. This information about 4th Industrial Revolution, the job landscape, the future of jobs has not reached every person. Otherwise, they will have adjusted their sails to the good wind, and unemployment will have become something of the past. Gilbert, will you add something?
Gilbert, you can hear us?
Maybe he can't.
Maybe he can't.
It's something to do with our system.
Okay.
From what I hear, Vincent,
Yes, sir.
is that the two of you are essentially evangelists.
Praise God.
Yes. And you are charting a path and saying, hear ye, this is the way, walk ye in it. Now, that I think is good. Because sometimes it is good for someone to tell you what is coming, what to expect, and how it will look like, and more precisely what it will do for you. It is a good thing. Even as you've embarked on this journey, can you tell us of people who've actually consumed this knowledge? People who have had this born-again experience of understanding what the revolution is and what it is that they've done with it. Because you didn't start yesterday, you didn't start today. It's something you've been doing for some time.
Thank you, Muga. Like I told you earlier, we sat down with my brother Gilbert and said, no, we can't keep on saying that the graduates are unemployed and frustrated. We started a program as Blockchain Analytica. We offered 20 scholarships initially and later on added 10, to a total of 30 scholarships. we went to the churches, because at least we understand how churches operate, and reached out to the youth, and we offered them those scholarships. We trained them
Scholarships for what exactly?
in data science,
Okay.
and we offered the training, and they got the certification. And the best part is 10 of them are working, and one of them will soon be moving to a multinational, earning more than $3,000 a month. That is the little that we could do, but leading the people on the road to
Damascus.
Thank you. Gilbert wants to speak, but I don't know.
Something wrong with our system.
Yeah, our internet connection is also horrible. But also, we're coming to the end of the show. And we thank you very much, Vincent and Gilbert, for joining us today and for sharing everything that you've shared with us. Your parting shots.
I got 2 parting shots. One, this is the best time to be alive, because opportunities are abundant. I'm 51 years old, but I've never enjoyed life like I've done in the last 5 years. Why? I chose to reskill, retool, and relearn. Point number 1. Point number 2, let's each support one another. Let's not just wait for the organization or for the big organization, the government, to do this. Let's support the government. They've already made the step, and I know by June next year we'll be singing a different song. Lastly, God no make no junk. God created you in his image, so you are also a co-creator. Don't go with the flow. Pick out and create.
Create, be different.
Thank you.
Vincent Kirioba is the director of Blockchain Analytica Consultants. And we also had Gilbert Mogambi Osoro, who is the patron of the 4th Industrial Revolution. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining us.